variety of options as far as attacking the arms, escaping, doing a bunch of different stuff. This week we're working on how to use the pajamas efficiently and effectively from the mounted position. So I get to the mount, generally by then, unless something has gone terribly wrong in Julian's life, his gi's at least not tight in. Someone opened up. But if I need to, I like to just kind of pop her open a little bit. Now, I'm generally going to reach one hand in, and I like to put my fingers right across his collarbone, gripping 4 fingers in. I don't want to reach so far back that I'm like flipping my wrist back. I want to keep it to where I have that strong wrist position the entire time. So I'm right here. Now, generally, most of you have seen the cross collar choke from guard. I reach under, grab the other collar, finish, right? I don't like that option as much for men. Here's why. If I reach under to do the cross collar and Julian doesn't suck, he can buck and roll and do things, right? And my hands are tied up into each other. I dislike that from being able to transition from one thing to the next. So on here, instead, I'm going to reach low on his shoulder, just past the cap of his shoulder to that nice little bit of cloth you'll have here. As I drop this elbow down, I'm going to look to turn his face away and up. A couple ways you can do that. You can either use his cheekbone or his jawbone here. I don't care which one. As soon as that happens, I'm going to flex my wrist into his throat, start dropping my weight and my elbow to the mat. One of the big problems we were having Tuesday was we were gripping a little bit shallow. So a lot of you guys were like gripping almost like the front of his shoulder. What it was running into is you guys were running into your hands. That's why I grip back here into the outside just that little bit. That way, when I'm here, it allows me to frame and not run into my own hands. Does that make sense? Now, when we drop our weight on this, I'm driving my hips back, my elbows down. If I need to, I post my head in the mat to keep a good base. Because as we're here, obviously my hands are tied up. I post my head, sink my hips. I like to just cross my feet, curl into the butt, and finish as needed. Questions on this? It is simple, but not easy. The details make the difference here. Yes?
Before I get a remark about your baby, is it not ideal that like they're wearing a tight gi instead of just grabbing? You
can monkey palm here. I don't hate that. If, let's say Julian, super high competitor has a tight gi here, I'm just going to kind of grab the back of that shoulder blade here. You can still hit it just as well. Generally, you're going to be able to find some cloth. How much cloth is always up for debate. Other questions?
So it has to be.
Yeah, don't elbow people. It's really frowned upon those days. Now, for Julian, but yeah, always want to make sure when I'm here, I'm always going to place it, then be aggressive. That's kind of always my rule of thumb if I'm going to grind something. Because if I come here and I go, wow, it's going to look bad, especially at the local level. They're not going to really put up with that. But if I go here, I place, and then I go, sucks to suck, defend yourself. That's just how the game plays. So that's always a good kind of rule of thumb. Place it, then be aggressive if you want to, be rough with some people. I'm all for physical jiu-jitsu. I'm not a fan of dirty jiu-jitsu. Other questions on this? Works both sides. I'm here. Like I said, my pinky should be just above the collarbone there. Reach over, drop his weight across, flex my wrist, drop my weight down. Simple, but it's hit it a bunch of times, so we'll move on. 1, 2, 3! Clap, clap, clap!
I said 40 clap!
Fire that ass. Layer it in. So 90% of your choke is actually your wrist crushing their throat. To the gentleman that had that. I'm just trying to break it with my wrist. Alright? So when I'm here, it's all being able to drive that weight through that wrist. I'll explain it really slow and in great detail because Julian's been missing class lately. It's really starting to make me mad! Life happens. Other questions? Alright, 1, 2, 3! Talking jiu-jitsu one day, and he actually gets mounted, right? Some days this happens. You get tired. So Julian's like, man, I think I can gi choke Dustin. So he's going to open my collar. He's going to reach a hand in. Now, obviously, these smart-ass answer up. How do I defend a collar choke? Don't get in it. Obviously, early detection, like in most things in life, is going to help you out quite a bit. So realizing that no one in the history of jiu-jitsu has grabbed a collar just because. They're either setting something up or trying to choke you with it. Neither of those two are good things. So, but I also can't just be like, rawr, and start pushing people away, because that extends my hands way too much. So obviously we have to figure out, how do you defend yourself while not overextending in the mount position, right? So all I'm going to do here, I like to stay in that home alone defense. The opposite side hand to the collar is just going to come in and tuck into that home alone. See, right? We've all seen that. You're, I like Sam, who's like 7. We're all in the correct age bracket to have seen that, right? So, boom, that hand comes to that. This hand, I'm going to cap the elbow and pull it across. Because now, even if Julian reaches over and tries to start going for this choke here, I have this hand interrupting the top side hand, and I have control of the bottom hand, right? All of those positive things for you. Now, Julian doesn't suck, he's going to go to what we go to next. Well, let's assume Julian's, a dumb white belt. Tries to choke me still. He's like, I'm still going to go, right? Boom, I'm here. All we're going to do, guys, cover the foot, bump the hips, go to the side we have the arm trapped. Posture, get the hand off your collar, slap Julian in the face as needed. So if we, 2 weeks ago, worked the input escape, just a simple grab and bump, same concept. We're here, early detection, always key. Boom, I'm here. Now, obviously, doesn't feel good if Julian actually tries to choke me here, right? Like, even defending myself, this isn't great. Like, my hand hurts right now. I'm starting to get some blood. None of this feels great. So we can't just defend. Difference in between defending and escaping. Defending is what I'm doing if I just stay here. Escaping is when I move to exit. So he goes to hit this choke. Boom, I don't like that. I cover his foot. I arch up and towards that trapped shoulder. Get here. 2-on-1. Break the grip. Walk away. And it took a second. Questions on that? One, two, three. Happening. Alright, so I'm here. Good things are happening, right? Boom, I grab his collar. Julian doesn't suck, unfortunately, because he's hung out with me long enough. So he grabs my elbow. He starts blocking his face, right? None of this is helpful for me, right? It makes choking him really hard. It makes going other directions. So all we're going to do is I'm going to find the back of his elbow. Generally, there's a nice piece of cloth there. If not, just use the elbow grip. Just kind of cupping the grip. Or the back of that tricep. So I'm here. He's cupping my elbow. Boom, I'm here. All I'm going to do is sit him up to his side, sliding my knee right to the back of his shoulder. Pinching my knees here, sitting onto his hips. Now, you'll hear this called combat mount, a half dozen other different games, all what you want, right? So boom. Then all I'm going to do is switch my hands. This hand is going to drag down, my other hand's going to come around. Here. Now, the hand that is underneath his arm already, you're fucking this up here, does not come out and around. Stays here. I shoot his elbow up, and I put my hand right behind his neck. Now, I'm going to loosen my grip, contrary to popular belief, I do like holding grip. So I don't want to put him out just yet. Now, as I do this, I'm going to bring my head and chest up, cut my hand across the back of his neck, and pull start my bow. When done efficiently and effectively, with a good solid grip, it sucks a whole lot. Now, the chest motion we were struggling with Tuesday, I'm here, and the best way I can describe it, who's all watched the old Superman movies? We go into the phone booth and we rah, right? Same concept. I'm driving my head and chest up here. So that way when I drive this hand behind his head, here, everything's in line, putting all the pressure into this thing. So we're here. Starting to fight with Julian. Boom, I grab this hand. Boom. Julian's like, I don't want to be choked. He's like, yeah, it's not really up to you. Not a consent thing. Just choke the shit out. Boom, I pop him up, slide my knee behind. Right here. Drag that collar down, set my thumb grip in. As soon as that grip changes, this hand Karate chops to the back of his head. Say it with your chest. Choke Julian out, brothers. This is one of those ones, as long as you have a solid grip, shouldn't take a whole hell of a lot of time. It's not a slow, steady squeeze, it's just an explode upward. They'll tap or scream. Or you'll get that good verbal noise, which is always my favorite. Questions on this one? Over again. Boom. Here, Julian counters. Counter to the counter. So somebody dies. Yeah. Touch the hand. Bring the arm behind. Stay with your chest. Questions on this? Choke each other. 1, 2, 3. Now, I start to try to choke Mr. Julian. He defends himself. Because he's an idiot. He doesn't let me just choke. I post him up. I bring him up here. Now, let's say I get this hand fed, but for whatever reason, I just am not confident in this hand getting behind the head. Let's say he scoops my leg. That'll happen sometimes. Guys will try to scoop their leg. All sorts of weird shit can happen. So I sit him up. Boom, I get this grip. I'm just not confident here. All we're going to do, our top side hand, instead of being on the back of his head, is going to sit to his knee. Now, I can either grab the pants or hook the knee. Whichever, that's more preferential. I like a good hook just because it's fast. Then our knee that is behind his head is just going to slide to the inside of my elbow. Now, depending on how friendly you want to be. Right, I can just fall back, arch the bow, or if you're a dick, you kick him forward while you do it. It's the bow and arrow choke. It's one of the variations we're going to work from the back coming next week on Dragon Ball Z. Right? So, I'm here, boom, I go to choke Julian. Julian defends himself. I don't appreciate Julian defending himself. Boom, I come up here, boom, get that collar. Now, for whatever reason, I just don't feel confident in being able to fall back here, right? All we're going to do, drive that knee to the inside of our elbow, pull, pull, drop. Make sure, if your partner's there, you're one, as me, looking for the tap. And two, partner, realize there's 20 some odd people on the mat tonight. Tap their leg is right here. I should be looking for the tap anyway, but this one sets in a hurry. So make sure you're looking for it. Hey, turn that off for me. We don't need the air. Thank you. Thank you. Authentic Brazilian training, my friend. We going to work the Armbar next. We do the jiu-jitsu. Yeah, they give you a fake Portuguese accent as soon as they tie your blindfold. Professor. Here, post that foot, hug the hip. Get this right behind his back. Nice part is, I like this one, especially once I get this, if they start to try to roll to all fours. Here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn.
It gets real aggressive real quick. Like I said, guys, sometimes you need a new enemy in life. This is a great way to get one. Questions on this choke? The big difference here is sitting that knee, and this knee that's on his back goes to the inside of my elbow. Does that make sense? So when I have this grip around, I'm posted here. This knee comes to the inside and across his back. That way it's reinforcing my grip here. Grab it here. You roll your bow, you roll back your bow, whatever you want to call it. That way. For those of us lifters, we low row this right position, right? Questions on this choke? All right, 1, 2, 3. All right. So, I'm here, boom, I grab the collar. He defends himself, right? I don't appreciate that. Boom, I help him up. Let's say, for whatever reason, that just doesn't feel right to us. We don't like choking people. We're not big collar people. It happens, right? Sometimes it's just not your game. I'm not a big collar choke guy. Not my game, right? So all we're going to do instead is I'm going to connect my elbow to his elbow. Here. So the hand that was on the grip connects to the elbow. I'm going to lean towards his hips, windshield wiper my foot out. That's going to allow me to pass my foot over the head, pinch to the knees, tack at the wrist. Then once you get here, you just extend and you play a little bit. You make Julian remember not to lose class with techniques. Then wrist lock people because fuck them. Or as I refer to it as the hey girl. It's 2022. Be more progressive. Pride. Hey, we accept all people. You can love people, love. Boom. Right here. Trying to choke Julian. If he doesn't appreciate it, I'm here, right? Boom. I set him up. Come up here. I don't feel like I can get this hand around. He's defending his collars. He's figured out shit's gone sideways, starts to protect his neck, right? That's not uncommon. Boom. All I'm going to do, connect our elbows. Lean, windshield wiper our face. That's going to allow me to bring that foot right in front of his face. Pinch the knees. Attack at the wrist. If I pull Julian's elbow as hard as I can, guess what? This is not a submission. It's really strong. I've been lifting, I promise. If I fight him at the wrist, I attach that to my chest, pull the rope up, attach really quickly. And that's the nice part about this. Sit here. Anyone have any intricate details they'd like to explain? Yeah, so like I'm right here. You can tuck it behind this arm. I wouldn't recommend this arm. It is as tight as it can be, but I prefer this one just because it's inside more. The other thing is, if they start to run their feet, grab some pants. So like Julian doesn't suck, so he's gonna try to hitchhike. Grab the pants. Get some meat. Now, Julian, give me a thumbs up. This side. Yeah, on the arm I'm not touching. Give me a thumbs up. What fucking special needs school did I give you? So, he's got me a thumbs up right here, right? When I pull his arm, I'm pulling against that thumb. So if Julian were to turn his thumb out, I have to pull his arm this way. If he turns his thumb out this way, I have to pull his arm this way. If he keeps his thumb up, I have to pull it straight back. Does that make sense? So even if, like, a lot of guys think they're crafty and will start flipping their hand around, all you have to do is find a pin, pin it to one side or the other, I don't care which it is, and pull it across. Here, if you really mean, you can attach it here. There's a lot of good options. This 2 week skin zone. Alright, questions on this?
When you're attaching, you slide up to the elbow to get that. I noticed you can use the other hand to keep it here.
Basic. Just keeping myself fixed.
Or that you instead secure that a little bit more and grab your own knee to kind of do.
Not against that. A lot of people, especially when they go elbow to elbow, grab their own collar. This gives you a bit of angle. Because he's going to roll and try to do shit. Good angle. Like right here. This isn't moving that much. You know, slack out. That's it. You're not going to choke. Other questions? If you really want to suck at jiu-jitsu, that's super handy. So the reason you don't fall towards the head, what is the number one escape from arm? From mouth. Hitchhiker. So, if I give you 60% of the hitchhiker escape, is that ideal? Now, am I saying it never happens? No. Watch my most recent Armbar victory. It happens. I'm aiming towards his feet though. So, ideal world, always go towards his feet. Everything's perfect, right? We talk about there's the ideal world I wish we all lived in, right? The real world, that's messy and sweaty and never gonna live. Right? Ideally, yes, you fall towards the leg, and it's perfect, and you can extend it. Realistically, as soon as you hit that swivel, you're pulling that arm up, getting that foot over, pinching the knees, and fall. Hopefully towards the knees. Other questions on this? One more time, just for fun. Boom, I'm here. I grab the collar. Boom, I don't like it. Sit him up. I'm here. If I want to, I can connect grab this collar. Push it down. I like to push the face here a little bit. Equal parts fuck you and balance. Well, the hips. Bring that leg over. Pinch the knees. Do not cross your feet. Pinch the knees. Just log as deep. Questions? Comments? Concerns? So, at the highest level, Julian packs his hands, right? So I get here, he packs his hands. So I want to attack this arm across the leg. That is the difference. That is 90% of what you're going to see when people cross their feet in a mounted armbar is going to be some variation of that or the leg hat series. So you cross, get a little leg hat, and then you work from here. 90% of you aren't good enough to transition far side to that armbar. And crossing my feet here loosens what could be a really effective armbar to an ineffective armbar for something that you're probably going to fuck up in. Purple, brown, oh, start crossing your feet, you can play with them. You'll have some fun. But ideally, pinching the knees is going to be much better. And even when I cross back over, I'm going to uncross my feet and pinch those knees. When I come up here, I'm still coming across and pinching my knees. So that's the difference, is that armbar transition. Hands. That's it. That is the only time is I sit to this armbar. Julian has a well-packed hand assembly here. I have this grip and I can't break. I've done everything else. Then I will cross my feet and come here. I will hit 5 to 6 different things before I do this. Even versus you guys, versus a blue belt, I will still do 7 other arm unpacks or other options here before I think, oh yeah, let's change sides. That's gonna go. It's just unlikely to be successful, especially no-gi. Little slip and slide action there, you're done. In the gi, you might get away with it more, but even then it's 70-30, 70% of the time, it's probably not going to work, 30% of the time it is. Where I like it to be the inverse, 70%. I want what I'm doing to work 70% of the time, 30% they're going to defend, right? That's always the balance we're trying to go for, is that's more effective than not. In transitioning across someone in mount, when they realize what you're doing, all he has to do is buck his hips and he throws the entire part of your game. That's long-winded as that explanation. Other questions? Armbar is this. 1, 2, 3.